पूरा नहीं दिख रहा।
वही मैं सोच रही हूँ।
आपने वो शटर ढंग से बंद नहीं किया। शटर कलर भी थोड़ा अलग लग रहा है। शटर आधा ओपन है माता जी।
हरे कृष्ण।
नॉर्मली शटर की प्रॉब्लम।
Can you check?
हाँ ये अब आ गया ना पूरा। लाइट पड़ रही है नहीं कम हो गया माता।
Yes, yes, that's fine. Thank you, Prabhuji. Okay. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna. So, welcome everyone to Sunday morning Gita class. Always good to be among sincere seekers who are eager to hear about the Vedic scriptures, about Bhagavad Gita in particular. Just wondering if we should. So, yeah, thank you very much for coming together week on week, every Sunday morning. I feel very energized. I don't know about all of you. I feel very energized to be amongst all of you and get this chance to speak the message of the Bhagavad Gita. So, like always, we'll start with Kirtan. Very important part to prepare our consciousness. We'll sing Radha Madhav. I'll sing, and you all can repeat after me. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Giridhari Yashodanandana Braj Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braj Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braj Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Shama Sundar Radha Shama Sundar Radhe. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Kirtan Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Jai Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So, welcome everyone to the Sunday morning class. We'll start with the auspicious prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 Om Ajnanatimirandasya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya. Jnananjana Shalakaya. Jnananjana Shalakaya. Chakshurunmilitam yena. Chakshurunmilitam yena. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya. Namo Vishnupadaya. Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale. Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale. Srimate Bhakti Vedanta. Srimate Bhakti Vedanta. Swami Niti Namine. Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve. Namaste Saraswate Deve. Gauravani Pracharine. Gauravani Pracharine. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi. Nirvishesha Shunyavadi. Paschat Deshatarine. Paschat Deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Prabhu Nityananda. Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar. Shri Advaita Gadadhar. Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukhaṁ karoti vācālaṁ pangum langhayate girim yat kripātamham vande Shri Guru Dīnataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. That's it. So welcome once again and congratulations, all of us are here on a Sunday morning. There are many people who start a Gita course, but how many have the good fortune to be able to attend it week on week, month on month. It's actually our eternal dharma to to be parts and parcels of the Lord, as part and parcels of the Lord, to hear about Him, to hear from Him, and to understand the message that He has given us. We should imbibe in our lives and live our lives by. So, we dedicate this presentation to His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, founder Acharya of ISKCON. It's thanks to Prabhupada that we have understood this divine knowledge. So Prabhupada gave this knowledge not just to people from India, but even to the people in the West. Normally, when people from India they go to the West, particularly US, like, a lot of people they go there to study, to work. When I'm sure several of you would have gone there too. When we first go there, what's our reaction? Wow, this is so wow, this is so nice. All the skyscrapers, especially like the bigger cities, New
So
York.
lucky.
So lucky, yes, so lucky. Especially those of us who may have gone there. Not now. Now, at least Bangalore is like Silicon Valley in some sense, but those of us who may have grown up in smaller cities, and if you've gone in our earlier part of our life to the US, it's like, wow, so many people, they adopt the lifestyle there. They start living their lifestyle. Accent bhi change ho jata hai. Actually, I notice even a lot of kids who go to international schools, they have an American accent
Of course.
here. So there is so much of love for the West. But when Srila Prabhupada, he landed, he went in this cargo ship called Jaladuta, and it arrived at Boston Harbor. He looked at the skyscrapers and he looked at the hordes of people just running here and there, so busy with their material lives, having no knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita and spirituality. For us, when we go, it's like, oh wow, this is like heaven, ye to swarg hai. For him, he didn't feel that way. He felt sad. He also felt a lot of compassion for the people out there, and he was hoping that he can give them the message of the Lord, because these people were completely bereft of spirituality. They were suffering and stuck in the cycle of birth and death. So at that time, Srila Prabhupada, he wrote a song. It's called Markine Bhagavad Dharma. It's a very, very beautiful song. He landed there and he composed the song. And he's telling the Lord in the song, "Oh Lord, I don't know why you have got me here, but I'm sure there must be a purpose. And if you so please, please help me, help these people, yeah, who are completely covered by the modes of ignorance and passion, completely absorbed in material life. I don't know how they will be able to understand the message of Vasudev." That is what he was feeling and writing to the Lord. And he was saying, "Oh Lord, you preach through me. You preach through me." So that's what all preachers do. He was saying, like, that was Srila Prabhupada. He was saying, "I don't have any power. Enlighten these people with your wisdom and the holy name." So Srila Prabhupada, of course, we know what happened next. And, we know of the explosion and the blast that happened of the Hare Krishna movement in the West. So there were reporters, journalists who would write, there is a Hare Krishna explosion. If you look up, like, the New York Times and all of those days, that's what they were saying. So there's one man, 70-year-old. It's very difficult for us to imagine unless we reach that age, or what it feels like to be 70 years old, and then do all of this. He could do this because he was empowered. He was clearly empowered by the Lord. And also, what he did helped revive the eternal faith. So the presentation today also, it is like, if you see any preachers in ISKCON for that matter, we present things as it is. Maybe the packaging is different. Maybe there were no PPTs at the time that Krishna was here. So packaging has changed. But if you look at the message is still the same. It is as it is. And that is why it can be potent. And any preacher who speaks in ISKCON actually speaks from the acharyas and from parampara. What Srila Prabhupada has spoken, and he was speaking from what the Lord has spoken. So today we have this important topic of reviving the eternal faith. So what does reviving the faith mean? It means that the faith was lost. That's why we need to revive it. Otherwise, why do we revive something which is not lost? So I don't know how many of you were here for the last session that we did. The last session was the lost wealth, right? So we were talking about how India was so rich, not just materially, with a lot of wealth in the temples, but also spiritually. There were so many invaders who came to our country and took away that wealth. So there were various personalities who came, who broke our faith in our own scriptures. So Islamic rulers, when they came, they did that by looting the temples because that's where they saw that all the wealth was lying. They went, they demolished the temples, they they defaced the deities, they broke our deities, and they took all the wealth. The interesting thing was that the same invader would go again and again to the same temple, and after a few years again, when they would invade, there would again be a lot of wealth. Because in those days, everything centered around the Lord. So people were not hoarding wealth for themselves, but they were like giving everything to the Lord, and the temples were very, very rich. That is why they were getting invaded. So, in fact, if you see, that's what also Srila Prabhupada taught us. If you go to any ISKCON temple, you will see that there is a lot of focus just on the Lord and on Archana, how the Lord is worshipped. There are 6 artis which happen in every ISKCON temple. There are 7 times that Bhoga offering is done, right from Mangal Arti time where the Lord is fed like all milk sweets like Rasagulla, Sandesh, to the Raj Bhoga offering that happens in the afternoon. I think it has like 14 dishes. It is so amazing. Like once I was in Vrindavan, I got the opportunity to get that prasad of ISKCON Vrindavan, the Raj Bhoga offering, and it was so amazing. I was feeling so ashamed. I was begging forgiveness from my deities कि मैं आपको क्या खिलाती हूँ रोज. What are you used to and what you should be given, and what do I feed you every day? So that's what Prabhupada taught us, that how the Lord should be the center of our lives. And then even these temples were very rich. So the devotees also, they were staying around the temple. So if you go to places like Sriranga, Melkote, we'll see how all people, they stayed around the temple, and the temple was the center. So maybe someday we'll go on a yatra, hopefully, to some of these places. Then what we also talked about in the lost wealth was after the Islamic rulers. Actually, it was the Britishers who came and who took away the real wealth, which was not just in the temples, but which was our culture, our spirituality, and the whole basis of that was our scriptures, which was all in Sanskrit. So they made us ashamed of what we had, of our heritage and the Sanskrit language. And then everything, the whole education system was turned around and everything changed to English. And see, like a few hundred years later, that's where we are. None of us know Sanskrit. We're preaching also in that same language today. So that's what happened. And with all of this, just think of it, it's to the extent that they even planted this word mythology. So if you look at us, now we are coming to Bhagavad Gita courses, so we think about it deeply. But if you try and go and look up, try to buy anything online or anybody, they will talk about Hindu mythology. Mythology comes from the word myth. What does myth mean?
Not true. Not true.
That which never happened. So just imagine our history, the whole history on which our entire culture and existence is based, our existence, our identity as spirit souls, that whole history was in the span of a few years turned into mythology. So even today, people ask, what is the proof? There is actually a lot of proof that Rama and Mahabharata, all of this happened, although it happened like hundreds and thousands of years ago, but there is still enough proof. But still, our kids, they don't believe in it. They think, like, this is mythology. How is this true? So, in fact, what has happened is that, instead of Diwali, favorite festival for kids is something else. What is it, Rishabh? Not that. There's one more.
Valentine Day.
Yeah, once they grow up a little bit, Valentine's Day, ये कौन से Halloween. I would wonder, like, what do we celebrate in this? Like, all the kids, they're dressing up like devils. And then, there was one kid who said that, so I was saying, I don't see a point. Like, this is not what our culture is. Our culture is about celebrating festivals because they are about pastimes of the Lord, and they teach us something about being good and how do we, like, try and become like, what the Lord has taught us to be like. And then there was this one child who I heard say that, nay, my teacher has said that Halloween is very important. There's a reason why we celebrate it. It's like, what is that reason? So, like, we dress up like demons so that wherever there are demons, they will not come and trouble us.
That's a common understanding.
It's like, what rubbish is this? But we are laughing here. But just think of our children and the next generation. This is what they are growing up with. So it is our responsibility as students of Bhagavad Gita and as adults who are now understanding this whole subtle programming that we have been subjected to for years, which has completely changed the way our society is, and to protect our kids, our family, and also whoever we can see around us. Yeah. So therefore, today's lecture is topic is very important. It's reviving the faith, which has been murdered. So we have to revive that eternal faith. So any knowledge that we acquire in this world falls in these three categories, right? There's pratyaksha praman, anuman praman, and shabda praman. So let's understand what each of these is. Pratyaksha praman, seeing is believing. Sounds familiar? Yeah, only what I see, I will believe only that. In fact, once there was a teacher who was saying that we should see only what we believe. So a student, he got up, he said, "But ma'am, I don't see your brain." So, it just talks about how flimsy this whole thing is. It's very important to know that we are very proud of ourselves, right? And therefore, we believe that whatever we are able to see and perceive is ultimate. We don't want to trust anything else. Hare Krishna. So, in fact, a scientist, a Nobel physicist, Richard Feynman, I'm sure all of you have heard about him. He talks. He has worked a lot on the play of light, and he's done a lot of research, and he's written a lot, talked extensively about it. It is a known fact that we are only able to see a small part of the electromagnetic spectrum. We can't see everything that is there, the vast scale. So we can see everything within the visible spectrum, but not in the entire spectrum. But yet we are very proud that जो हम देख पाएंगे, we will only believe that वही सच है. उसके अलावा तो हमें नहीं पता, right? So we can't see the vast scale of the universe. We can't see what is there inside the atomic structure. Like, these are all very perceivable things, but yet we say that whatever a human eye is able to see, we are saying we'll believe
और
that.
दूसरा ये है कि अगर हमें दिखेगा भी तो हम उसको जो हमारे फेथ से अलाइन नहीं करता है उसको रिडिक्यूल करते हैं. We see things around
Selective
us,
seeing.
but हम उसको बोलते नहीं ये तो बकवास ये तो फ्रॉड है.
So, in fact, which brings us the Vedic scriptures. And this point is also there, Prabhuji, what you were saying, why we reject half things. The Vedic scriptures talk about 4 defects of human beings. One is karana apatava, which is imperfect senses. Second is pramad, we are illusioned. Third is brahma, that is, we have a tendency to commit mistakes. And fourth is vipralipsa which is cheating purposes or cheating propensity. We all have a cheating propensity. So let me go into detail of each of these imperfect senses. So, what are the five knowledge acquiring senses?
Ear, eyes, nose, tongue.
Tongue and skin. Yes, these are the five senses. So, let me prove one by one how each of these is actually defective. So, most of you, I'm assuming, are from a science background. Eyes, let's talk of eyes first. So, eyes can only see in a certain range, which is 400 to 700 millimicron. Beyond this range, we can't see. But there are actually, like, for example, if there is less light, we can't see. But there are animals who can see in the dark, right? Which are those animals?
Bat.
Yeah.
Owl.
Owl is there, owl, snakes, dog, cat, right? Sometimes we can't even see without spectacles. But yet we are so proud कि जो देखते हैं उसी पे विश्वास करेंगे. अब देखते क्या है, बिल्ली जितना देखते हैं उसको भी नहीं देख पाते. That is the fact. That's the fact. Yeah. A lot of times people say कि क्या है भगवत गीता, कहाँ है, कौन से भगवान, किसने बोला है भगवान को सामने लाए. But we can't see beyond a certain, like, things which are material. How will we see something which is spiritual? Not possible, right? Now, more next sense, ears, right? Again, the ears have the same limitation. Our ears can range here in the range of 20 hertz to 20 kilohertz. Yeah, 20,000 hertz. There are other animals which are able to hear better. So actually, bats are blind, but they are able to navigate because of the flapping of the wings. They produce ultrasound sounds, and that reflects from objects, and they are able to therefore navigate their way better. So that's nature. There are lots of lower species out there which can hear much better than us. So hence proved that our ears are defective. A lot of times physiotherapy they'll say, like, we'll do some ultrasonic treatment, etc. You can't hear the sound. X-ray के लिए जाते हैं हमें कुछ दिखता नहीं है, right? We don't have X-ray vision. So this itself proves that ears have their limitations, are defective. Tongue, yeah. So let's say there is lemon and then there is orange. Lemon is sour, typically orange is sweet. So you have lemon. And after that, you have an orange. What will you say about the orange? नहीं, orange आपने बाद में खाया. नहीं. First you have the lemon.
Oh, okay.
After that, you have an orange. So what would be the taste of orange? Sweet?
Sweet.
Sweet.
Sour, sweet, yeah.
Sweet, because you had something sour. Now you're tasting something which is sweet. Right? Now let's change the sequence. Let's say you have sugar also. Let's bring sugar in the mix. You have a spoon of sugar. After that, you're given an orange. What will you say about the orange?
Yeah. Tasteless.
Tasteless or sour. It's not sweet for sure. For sure, it's not sweet, right? It could be sour depending on the type of orange, whether it's Nagpur orange or it's an Australian orange or what orange we're talking about. But so then there's nothing absolute, right? Our tongue is not able to understand the absolute taste. It's all relative. It's all very, very relative. Nose. Once we go to a hospital, can we all would have experienced. There's a certain smell that we
Hospital
yeah, the medicine
smell,
hospital, very peculiar smell. But then after we spend some time there, can you still smell it?
No.
So what has happened? The smell is not gone. It's still there. Nose has
Just
got
got used
adapted.
to it, yeah.
The nose is adapted to it. So again, it's all relative, right? How much time you spent in a certain environment. Nose has gotten saturated and can't distinguish the smell anymore, right? Now let's come to touch. Let's say there is somebody having 102 fever. If you go and touch the person, what will you say? How will the skin feel?
Hot.
Hot. Now let's say if you had 104 fever, and if you go and touch the 102 fever person, what will you say?
Cold.
तो ठंडा है क्या, नाटक कर रहे हो क्या, क्या कुछ बुखार नहीं है. Right, so again, it's all relative. There is no capacity for understanding the absolute. No capacity in any of our senses. So, do you agree on all of these points?
Yes.
And now, with this defective senses, we are saying seeing is believing. See, look at our situation. Illusioned, right? Pramad. So, I'll show you a few images. Are these moving?
No.
Yes.
No.
Seems to.
Seems to move. Seems to move. You have to look at it carefully, long enough. Seems to move.
Seems to.
Rishabh, what's happening?
One moves, then everything stops, then another moves, and everything.
Yeah, that's what is happening. Yeah, I thought so
It's your
too.
own vision here. It's the way you want to see it.
Here also seems to be moving. So let me tell you, these are all static images.
Yes.
There's not a video. It's a static image. But what is our eye perceiving? Eye is perceiving some movement. What is this? This is called illusion. So these are our eyes with which we want to say seeing is believing, and we think there will be no illusion. We will be able to see things as they are, right? So what is the biggest illusion of this world?
That we live forever.
Yeah, some of us like to think that.
Sansar such lagta hai. This is the main illusion.
We are body and not soul. That's also the big issue.
Yeah. And also, there is always a hope I will be happy in this world. That is the biggest illusion. I will be happy.
Sukhalaya.
It's not Sukhalaya, it's Dukhalaya Shashwatam. It's temporary and a place of misery. Krishna says it twice in the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, so this is how he describes the world. Even if we look at some recent examples, we keep running after things, thinking something will make us happy. Smartphones. When smartphones came, everybody was like, wow, now we'll all be smart. How fortunate we are to be born in the time of smartphones. Now, the same thing has become a
Habit here.
Huh?
I mean, we take it for granted that these things are there.
has become a bane. It's not a boon anymore. You're like captivated. You are the servant of the smartphone. Addiction. Yeah. Now there are people who say like there was a friend of mine. I wasn't able to reach her on WhatsApp for like pretty good, about 15 days or so. I kept sending her messages and she wouldn't respond. And I was busy, so I didn't even bother to call her. And then finally, one day she responded, and I was like, "Where were you? You didn't respond for all." So I was on a smartphone detox. So now we are detoxing
Yeah.
from smartphones, which we thought were like blessing when they came.
Yeah, it's common. A lot of people do that.
Yeah. So this is a like not a spiritual person. This is just somebody.
No, I'm aware of the people who are actually sick of this phone.
Yeah.
And they actually go
Yeah.
for detoxing.
People
Yeah.
say digital detox.
Digital detox. Yeah.
So normally they go into forest or something for a week. I've seen big corporate guys doing it at least
Yeah.
1 week a year.
Yeah.
Cell phone off, basically.
Cell phone, TV, laptop, nothing.
Yeah. So earlier, the roads, mode of transportation was horses. So the roads used to be dirty because there used to be horse dung here and there. So then people invented cars. So everybody was very happy that roads will now be clean. Roads are clean, but lungs are dirty. So that's what happens. Third thing, Brahma, committing mistakes. Yeah. So I was going through some articles. Actually, in the 4th century BC, Aristotle considered the brain to be a secondary organ that served as a cooling agent for the heart.
Yeah, in fact, Mataji Kartikeya Prabhuji has said this in one of the class, but he did not elaborate it. So I wanted to ask this question to him. long back, about 7, 8, 9 months back. That has been here.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask him,
I heard him say it too. So I did some more research. It was Aristotle who said that. And you can check this on the Stanford website. The whole history of how we got to what science got to know about the brain. It's given on the Stanford website, and it starts with this first understanding of Aristotle
The brain is cooling
is a cooling agent
for the heart.
for the heart. So it's just supposed to cool the blood. So no, nothing else was supposed to be in the brain. It was not like the center of cognitive function, but it was first understood to just be
There's
a
no
cooling
cognitive function, it's just a
cooling agent. That is what was known in 4th century BC, and Aristotle talked about it, right? Then there's like also enough research which talks about how the pituitary gland, which is actually a master organ, it was thought to be a vestigial organ. This is a useless tissue. तो थोड़े centuries पहले अगर कभी हम होते, तो any surgeon may have said कि चलो brain की भी जरूरत नहीं है, pituitary gland भी जरूरत नहीं है, let's put some replacements there. Can you imagine? So this is the modern science that we believe. And these are all very recent examples. I'm not talking of like 10,000 years back, somebody saying something. Yeah. Astronomers, in fact, were trying to find out the distance between different stars. And I think in the middle of the research that they were doing, they figured out that the unit was wrong. In fact, let's talk about ourselves. Yeah. So we commit mistakes. We also commit mistakes, right? Um, Sometimes when we'd be, especially as when we were smaller, we would have gone in trains a lot. I don't know how much all of you travel in trains or we travel in trains. The train is standing also, right, or is moving, and the other train is stationary. Just because of the relative movement, you would say दूसरी train पीछे जा रही है, or like when we would be in the train, we would be like earth is going back, right?
Very common.
Or even now the moon is moving, sun. So all of these are like now we know, like, of course the moon and sun doesn't change its position, but otherwise anybody would just look and think that these objects are moving, whereas they are not. And then cheating propensity, this is also there. Vipralitsa. So in 1912, Charles Dawson, he was an amateur archaeologist, and he claimed to have discovered the missing link between apes and humans, which was the human skull. So actually, he took a human skull, and to prove his point, he filed it to make it look like the skull of an ape, just to for his own get this fame that he had actually found that missing link of how we evolved, right? So all of us, we may be doing some sort of cheating. Only all of us can know. We all have cheating propensity. Sometimes we try to cheat others. A lot of times, if you think about it deeply, a lot of times we are even trying to cheat ourselves.
That is much more common actually.
Yeah, we are all trying to cheat ourselves. So it's in corporate life, we say the first impression is the last impression. You have to be like always. I used to be a consultant in my previous life, and there was so much importance given to the first meeting has to be perfect. First impression is the last impression. Actually, first impression is like the wrong impression. Everybody's trying to put their best forward, right? So almost like birdlings. If you have you ever seen birdlings when they hatch? They don't have the colors. They're like very they're different colored, beige, something like that. It's actually when the birdling grows into a bird, gets its wings, tab actual uske rang aate hain. So it's like that. So this is the cheating propensity. And now, with all of these defects, how can we say that seeing is believing? So this is very unscientific. Okay. So can we revise all the four that we went through? So what was the first one?
The
Imperfect senses. Yeah. Illusioned. Bhram. That 10 committing mistakes and cheating propensity. So let's be humble and acknowledge our limitations, right? We need not be very proud that jo dikhega, that is what we will believe, what we will be able to see and perceive, because we proved that it is bogus. This whole theory of, or this way of acquiring knowledge is not bona fide. So second one, yeah, Anuman Praman, which is guesswork. So we would have, I often hear this, right? I guess, according to me, it seems, my opinion is this. जो कोई मतलब नहीं है उसका.
as I can perceive.
Yeah. Go on Twitter, LinkedIn. It's just full of that. What is its worth? Nothing. It's nothing. So this talks about this picture. It shows 6 blind men. So these are blind from childhood. They've never seen an elephant, and they are touching different parts of the elephant. Right? Somebody is holding the trunk and thinking it is a
Arrow.
snake.
Or snakes. Sorry.
Tusk, seeming like arrow. The leg is seeming like a trunk, tree trunk. Yeah, tail is looking like a rope. So everybody's saying different things because that is what they're feeling, right? They're guessing. They're just guessing. So guesswork doesn't work. We've seen it. A lot of us may have been JE aspirants. गेसवर्क कर करके जितना किया ABCD इंकी पिंकी पोंकी वो नहीं चला. Whatever we know, we know. Whatever we don't know, that guesswork doesn't work. So there was, I'd heard of this, that once there was a person, he was hearing a lot of noises actually coming from the neighbor's house. The husband and the wife, they were like fighting like anything. So he was thinking, what should I do? And it didn't seem like a normal fight. It was just sounding so grave that he was thinking ki inke ghar pe to, like, they will kill each other probably if this. So he was in a dilemma. Should I go? Should I not go? What if I go? तब तक अगर किसी ने मार दिया होगा, I will be the first witness. मैं पुलिस केस में फंस जाऊंगा. But then, somehow he told himself, morally, he told himself, no. I'm a neighbor. I have to be a good neighbor. I have to go and prevent. Have to prevent something wrong from happening in this house today. So he goes and rings the bell. They open the door. TV chal raha tha. Husband wife were like very nicely sitting together and watching something on TV. But this person had done this guesswork of आज तो इनके घर पे murder हो जाएगा. They are both fighting so badly. So yeah, another guesswork. It's a very famous guesswork that we have all learned. A great personality.
हमारे पूर्वज तो बंदरों से नहीं आए थे, अमेरिकन आए होंगे.
उनके आए होंगे. क्या अमेरिकन को भी छोड़ देते बेचारे. अमेरिकन का क्या दोष है? Charles Darwin. So actually, medical science has proved that this is a bogus theory. But it's so unfortunate, it is still being taught in textbooks.
There's
Yeah.
this paper which is written which says that actually Charles Darwin, he was a very staunch believer of God, but his daughter died, and he prayed a lot for like 6-7 months, but still she died, and that's when
He turned it.
Yeah.
he turned atheist and he said that God does not exist. And
Yeah.
that's when
he did all of this, bogus work, right?
But I don't know. The paper says he doctored a lot of those things.
A lot of it, to prove the non-existence of God and to make us believe that we evolved from apes. There's no evolution that way, no? Then apes should have stopped existing.
But the modern science still teaches this, right? So
नहीं,
they have
इसका-
not been able to.
इसका proof आ गया ना. आपको पता है 6 weeks back in Mexican parliament, bodies of aliens were shown
Yeah. They were sure that's-
publicly.
They showed the
6-7 weeks back,
displayed the bodies. that-
displayed in parliament. So it's not मैंने देखा, तुमने देखा, इसने देखा.
Yeah. But again, let's say कि नहीं दिखाते. So then is it a reason for us to not believe?
नहीं,
Because
नहीं,
we've seeing is believing is a very
नहीं, हम
Very
कह रहे हैं
precarious
कि
position.
हमें नहीं पता, इसका मतलब थोड़ी क्यों नहीं है.
hmm.
That is the
Yeah.
thing.
So even life exists even on sun. It exists on the moon. In fact, these are not referred to as stars in our shastras. They've been referred to as a sun planet, moon planet. There is
Earth
life which
planet, like
exists.
just like Earth
Yes,
planet.
Prabhuji.
Sun is more gases, it's not a solid.
Yeah, because
Not a
their
solid
bodies.
It's
structure.
not a solid structure.
Yeah, because the bodies are not solid. See, we are thinking. So, what are the Panchabhuta? Earth, water, fire, air, ether. Right? So, bodies in the sun, bodies which are living in the sun planet are made of fire, are
Yeah.
gaseous.
There are
We are just used to these bodies. That is why any kind of
Yeah.
our efforts to find life on other planets
Like us, we are looking for somebody like
like
us.
us
like
नहीं हो
us.
सकता है ना. The conditions are different.
Different creatures living in the sun planet.
Yeah.
So they are
पूरा
very-
डिस्क्रिप्शन है.
So there is
जैन
life.
लिटरेचर के अंदर पूरा डिस्क्रिप्शन है. मतलब so and it would be there in Hindu
Yeah.
literature as well. पढ़ा
Yeah.
दिया हमने बस.
So Srimad Bhagavatam has all the descriptions. Yes.
Could you be referring to the astral bodies or astral projection?
the real.
Yeah, this is how modern science has tried to explain to us. But if you look at our scriptures, Srimad Bhagavatam is a scripture which talks in a lot of detail about this. In fact, I'll just get to that in some other. Even there is. So last time last class we covered it on how, and maybe we can share the link to that class. We were talking about how everything that we know today in modern science, whether it is about even medicine, it has been already given in our scriptures.
Yeah.
Maths is given in the Vedas. So it's all there. It's all there in the scriptures. Right. So
All the astrology.
everything, astrology, astronomy,
Astronomy,
spacecraft,
spacecraft.
medicine, surgery,
Now there is a research
everything.
going on. You can transmit a body from here to anywhere
Teleporting.
within seconds.
Teleported.
Teleporting. It was done by Professor Hawkins.
Some research is going on. The body is transmitted in some waves or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
And it
Let's
is
go and
placed
ask
over there.
Reappears as a physical
Yes.
body.
So same person goes there.
हमारे इसमें तो
तो हमारे यहाँ नहीं था नारायण नारायण यहाँ से निकले वहाँ पर
So actually, yogis, mystics can still do that.
ये देखिए
Yeah.
So yogis who have yogic powers who can do
that.
that. Yeah. But as spiritualists, that's not what we aim to do. We don't have to become yogis who can teleport themselves, because even with that teleportation, you can only be in the material world. But as students of the Bhagavad Gita, we realize this material world, irrespective of where you are, whether you are on earth or whether you are in Brahmaloka, it is a place of misery and it is temporary.
Yeah, it's a
At some
finite-
point of time, life of Brahma is in billions of years. But even at the end of the billions of years, he has to also die. So it's a place of birth and death. So we don't want to be here. But yeah, I mean, I don't. A lot of damage is done by Charles Darwin. So he said, like deer, they became giraffes because they were trying to eat the leaves. Like the place where he was presenting.
Goats became giraffes.
Yeah. So they were asking कि घास नहीं थी वहाँ पे खाने के लिए क्या? So it's just a very bogus. I think it was what became a whale. Some bear, it became a whale, like because it was opening its mouth too wide. So this is how he explained his entire theory. Yeah. Yeah.
But even Westerners have started ridiculing.
Yeah. Yeah. Now it is being proved by modern science. But a lot of people who have already died, human beings have already died without seeing the day that actually Charles Darwin's theory was false. But still, they still thought.
नहीं, this is
That-
just an example. मतलब ये जो आप 4-5 बातें कर रहे हैं यही है कि we have to trust our literature. अगर हम उसको trust नहीं कर रहे तो धीरे-धीरे ऐसे proof आएंगे पर तब तक हम जा चुके हैं.
हाँ, वही बोल रहा है.
So two things we saw. There's Pratyaksha Praman, which is seeing is believing. We saw that doesn't work. Then we saw Anuman Praman, which is guesswork, which a lot of these modern scientists have also tried to do. We've seen that that does not work. So what is the third one? Shabda Praman, which is Vedic scriptures. So this is the only thing which works because it is given by the Lord himself. The Lord gives them. So since we're scientific people, let's prove the validity of these Vedic scriptures. So there are 3 points: axiomatic truth, predictions, and manual. So these are the 3 things that we will try and see. What is an axiomatic truth? It is a self-evident theory that doesn't require any proof. So Vedas are axiomatic truth. Let's try and get some examples from let's say material world, modern science. Definition of a point is a circle with 0 radius. Imaginary eye, मैथ्स किया एक तुमको याद है, बहुत सताया imaginary eye ने. What is the value? Root of -1. That is the imaginary eye, right? It cannot be plotted.
Yeah, it's just.
Right? But these are axiomatic truths. So even in maths, there are certain axiomatic truths that we have to understand, and then we can build our further understanding, right? But these are things which can't be proved, but they exist in
Beyond
reality.
rationalization.
Yeah, yeah. So now let's come to science. Can somebody give the definition of science? So it is the study of existing things, the natural things around us. So science doesn't create anything new. It
It's all
it
study of the
tr-
material
it's
world.
yeah, it studies things which are existing, right? So let's look at some of the scientific theories. So structure of an atom, right? Dalton in the 19th century, he said that atom is the smallest particle. Then Rutherford in 20th century says atom consists of electrons, protons, and neutron. This was particle theory. So theory changed between Dalton and Rutherford. Then Schrodinger came 1926 में. उसने तो बोला matter is wave. तो dual theory हो गया. So same thing. It's the same structure of the atom has not changed, right? But the scientific theory within say a span of 100 years changed, and our understanding
Quantum
changed.
physics.
अभी किसी और ने कुछ निकाला है ना, they named as well.
Quantum.
Quartz particle.
And this and that.
Yeah, it's all the quantum physics.
It's all quantum.
Higgs boson. Yeah.
Yeah.
All wave and vector, whatever
Yes.
you want to believe, what you want to observe. It is.
So Vedic scriptures, on the other hand, are a body of complete and perfect knowledge. In fact, there is a challenge which is given in the Vedas that if you prove any part of the Veda wrong, you can reject the entire Vedic scripture. So that is the level of confidence that is there in the Vedic scriptures कि आप एक point भी अगर गलत आप prove कर सकते तो आप सारा reject कर सकते हैं. But if you look, actually, even Vedic scriptures have stood the test of time. There is nothing which has changed. Whatever was given millions of years back by Krishna, the same knowledge he gave again 5,000 years back. And if you look at the Bhagavad Gita, we've gone through so many shlokas. Every shloka is relevant today.
Are we sure that the Vedic scriptures that exist today, I'm just asking a very stupid question, they have not been tampered with and they are as it is given, whatever.
Just hold to this.
Their interpretation is, but the Vedas, whatever is written
And
is not.
the actual scripture,
जो
has
संस्कृत
not
का जो
been-
है,
most- that has not been tampered with.
So earlier Vedas were passed through Shruti because human beings were much better than us in terms of their memory and retention.
they
So
could-
it was not written, right? It was all through Shruti. Now it was only a few hundred of years back that it actually got written.
Got written.
So as Mataji was saying, interpretations are changing. So that is very
I'm not talking the original scripture as
Yeah.
such, not the interpretation.
no, the Vedic scriptures are there as it is. But yeah, we have to be very careful. Who knows, that may happen in the future. At least हमारे time तक तो
जैसे I give an example, रामचरितमानस जो थी जब वो उसको जला दिया था, actually then we found out, historians ने पता लगाया कि रामचरितमानस की 10 copies बनाई थी.
वाल्मीकि वाले या
हाँ,
तुलसीदास?
तुलसीदास वाले. तुलसीदास जी ने उसको 10 बार लिखा था because he was aware कि
Same
इसको
thing.
कोई ना same thing. So that could be one of the proof by which we can see that they still exist. Because तुलसीदास जी knew कि ये आएंगे, बाबर वगैरह ये जो भी थे, they burned और उन्होंने जलाया. जब नालंदा जली उसमें भी बहुत सारे scriptures हमारे
वो तो
जले,
मत पूछिए.
right? And उस time पर उन्होंने Xerox machine तो होती नहीं थी जो निकाल दें, तो उन्होंने खुद बैठ के उन्होंने हाथ से लिखा.
so
वो
many.
भी ओरिजिनल है कहीं?
ओरिजिनल है.
कहाँ पे है?
ये कहाँ लिखा था?
अच्छा, मैंने पकड़ करने वाली बात है।
हाँ
But
but
है,
है, but ये
कहीं
original
होगी।
है और ये सच है,
उनके हाथ से लिखी 5
हाथ
साल
से
पहले
लिखी,
की
हाथ से लिखी हुई
Yeah,
कहानी।
about
printing
500-600 years ago.
printing press is pretty new. So even if you like, if we go to Mayapur Yatra will be in
हाँ,
April. So वहाँ पे भी, there are places where the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which was written, the original manuscripts
अपने हाथ से
are
लिखे
still
हुए।
there. Yeah, जो लिखे हुए हैं.
अरे वो तामपत्र वाले भी आते हैं
हाँ,
जिसमें आप
correct.
अभी
उसी में
आप
लिखते
उसे
हैं,
देख
हाँ,
सकते हैं,
हाँ.
तो वो कुछ पर्टिकुलर सालों के बाद खराब हो जाते हैं, इसीलिए उनको रीराइट किया जाता है।
भोजपत्र
हाँ, जो भी मैं बोलते हैं तामपत्र, वो तो
Yeah.
कर्नाटक में है।
So Vedic knowledge has stood the test of time. In fact, now what we are discovering in modern invention and knowledge discoveries जो होती हैं, that is all based on Vedic scriptures. But now we are saying, oh wow, अच्छा ऐसा है क्या? Cow dung. People have talked, Vedic scriptures talk about the antiseptic properties of cow dung from the time that the Vedic scriptures have existed, right? Gobar,
आज भी
right? So there used to be people who would drink fresh cow urine. Going modern people like us would see, they would say, "Chee, what is this?" But now so many medicinal values have been proven of any kind of cow products, which are cow dung, cow urine, everything. But now we accept it because we've become scientific. Earth. So very few hundred years back, it was meant or it was thought to be flat.
Yes.
Anybody who said it was round,
भूगोल
हाँ
हमने
भूगोल,
कहा था।
हाँ लेकिन उसके पहले उसको people could be hanged if they were saying that the earth is round, till somebody actually went around the world, came back to the same point and said, oh actually this is round. But भूगोल तो हमारे शास्त्र में दिया हुआ है ना.
हाँ,
Earth is referred to as bhugol, goal is round.
goal is round.
But we didn't believe it then.
The first, the incarnation of Vishnu,
हाँ,
protected the
बड़ा अवतार में उन्होंने
Yeah, Varadev, the boar incarnation, Varadev.
both, yeah, Vara.
Yeah. Another one, plants have life. Our scriptures have always talked about plants having life. Now when modern science has done experiments to say actually plant को ऐसे रखेंगे जैसे sun move होता है, the plant also turns, then everybody's saying, oh, that means plants have life. But it's given in our scriptures, plants have life.
सूरजमुखी
Yeah.
Yes.
So science has proved what is already existing in our scriptures, right? So the point is that we are waiting for modern science to prove our Vedic scriptures. Till that time, we are not believing. We've gotten the perfect knowledge, but we are not taking access to it. Why?
One more example is distance between Earth and the Sun. I don't know the
Which is
shloka.
written in Sundarkand.
Yes. In that, it is clearly the calculation is given that this much is the distance.
Yeah, but we are still trying to find out. वही मैंने बोला ना एक बार astronomers and they figured out that their unit of measurement was wrong. So there are so many of these endeavors which are happening. Why? It's already given to us.
Somebody said that we don't believe because it is not in English.
वो तो ब्रिटिशर्स ने कर ही दिया था.
Latin पे क्यों believe करते हैं? Most of the science is in Latin.
Because लॉर्ड मैकॉले का प्लान में लैटिन डिस्ट्रॉय करना नहीं था ना.
Anything in English is believable.
Yeah.
वो non-Sanskrit
Like anything is
है.
non-Sanskrit.
Non-Sanskrit.
Is non-Sanskrit.
So the whole thing
Yeah.
was against Sanskrit.
Actually, this one is very interesting. Yeah. So human embryology. Yeah, it has been given in Srimad Bhagavatam 3.31.1 onwards. Now, modern science with sonography and all, we are able to see how the human child is developing inside the womb. Actually, Srimad Bhagavatam has such vivid descriptions of what is happening inside the womb from the day 1 to 3 to 5 to like every few weeks. And you know what is amazing? Modern science is just able to still see what is happening to the gross body. Srimad Bhagavatam also describes how the consciousness is developing. How the consciousness is developing. It's all given in our scriptures. So everything is there. Right? So Vyasadeva gave these second thing, Vyasadeva gave some amazing, astonishing predictions in the scriptures which have been proved, right? Let's look at some of those. It predicted that Lord Chaitanya would appear, Srimad Bhagavatam 11.5.32, and he appeared 530 years back. Lord Buddha, his appearance has been mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam 1.3.24. Chanakya Pandit is a great philosopher, amazing nitis that he has given us. It is his appearance is also given in Srimad Bhagavatam 12.1.11. And when it is said that these personalities will appear, all the details are given.
उनके
What will
parents का
be their
नाम,
how?
उनकी city का नाम, उनका complexion, उनकी body, सब.
Everything is given. So nobody can come and say कि like मेरा भी prediction होगा है मैं ही हूँ वो. Everything, all the details are given.
You are saying Srimad Bhagavatam, you mean Bhagavad Gita? or
No,
No,
no.
no,
There are two
Bhagavatam.
scriptures. So Bhagavad Gita.
दो उसके वॉल्यूम्स हैं भागवतम के.
नहीं, दो नहीं है. Let me talk about it. So, Bhagavad Gita is what Krishna told Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, 18 chapters, 700 verses. That is Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Srimad Bhagavatam is another text which is written by Vyasadeva himself. After he wrote all the other Vedas and Puranas, he was still not happy. So his guru, Narada, he came to him and he said, like, I've written so many things, but I am still not satisfied. And then Narad Muni, who was his spiritual master, he said, because you're not satisfied, because even though you've written everything, you have not written purely and exclusively about the Lord. So Srimad Bhagavatam, it is actually there it has 18,000 verses. It is presented in 12 cantos. It talks about the Lord, the Supreme Lord, and it also talks about the devotees of the Lord and the pastimes between the devotees and the Lord. So all the incarnations, they have been like, their pastimes have been mentioned. All the great devotees of the Lord, their pastimes are mentioned. And it also has a lot of these predictions on what is going to happen in the great personalities and incarnations of the Lord who will continue to appear. King Ashoka, Jesus
तो
Christ.
जो भागवतम का जो पाठ होता है ना, जो भागवतम जो 7 दिन 10 दिन चलता है, वो भागवतम से. तो जिसमें
Actually,
So it does not talk about Mahabharata at
Two
all.
books.
no, it talks about Mahabharata. It doesn't talk. So Mahabharata is a Puran also, separately also Purana, but Itihas, it's part of Itihas. But Srimad Bhagavatam also has so much about Pandavas. Like Canto 1, in fact, exclusively is about, Queen.
परीक्षित
Yeah,
महाराज
Queen.
से शुरू
परीक्षित
हुआ.
महाराज से
Queen.
वो गाय के 2 बेटे और वहां से जो
धर्म और वो
धर्म और
Kunti Maharani ke prayers hai usme, Uttara's pastime, how so it has a lot of very beautiful pastimes. It doesn't have all, as it is exclusively focused on the Lord. It will not have a lot of the pastimes ki pura nahi diya hua hai usme. But let's say Uttara's pastime, right? When the Brahmastra was actually thrown at her womb, Ashwathama, to kill Maharaj Parishit. How how she cried out for Krishna, and how Krishna entered her womb and protected Parikshit Maharaj. Right? So all of that is given. So first canto, in fact, is exclusively based on pastimes from Mahabharata. It doesn't talk about the entire Mahabharata.
I have 2 volumes of Bhagavatam. Are there more than that?
Yeah, there's 12 cantos.
There are
So
12.
yeah, there are 12 cantos. So
उसमें
actually,
6 होंगे शायद आपके.
हाँ नहीं वो I have the take one.
हाँ.
so it's a
I
very
think it's
big.
the full.
हाँ,
I'll,
कैंटोस देख लीजिएगा.
हाँ, canto.
So this
6 chapters
Prabhupada has written very beautiful commentaries
on this Bhagavatam.
and yeah, there are 12 cantos. Cantos are like parts, you can call it.
Chapter,
Yeah,
Chapters.
not chapters. Every canto has like 30 chapters
Yeah.
or something. But yeah, collection of chapters, which is like first canto, as like we were discussing, it's about characters from Mahabharata.
Adhyay,
Like second canto talks a lot about the Purusha avatars and how the whole creation came into being. There are certain cantos. Third canto would have a lot about like Kapiladev and some of the other rishis. Fourth
Kali
canto
Yuga.
is about
talks about advent of Kali Yuga,
Kali Yuga.
Yeah.
how things are changing.
So we'll-
Characteristics of Kali
we'll,
Yuga, how the Kali Yuga came.
We'll talk about some shlokas from the Bhagavatam. So Jesus Christ, his appearance is also predicted in Bhavishya Purana, Atharva Ved, Khanda 20, Shukta 127. So let's look at a few other things also which are spoken. Um, which will come true in the future. By the way, Kalki Avatar is also predicted, right?
When is he expected?
It will be towards the end of Kali Yuga. So अभी जो कल की अवतार घूम रहे हैं उन पे विश्वास मत करिएगा.
हम
We
नहीं
are
रहेंगे,
misled.
हम सब नहीं रहेंगे इस फॉर्म में.
Hopefully हमको तब तक जाना है. Yeah, so let's recite some shlokas from Srimad Bhagavatam. Vittameva kalau nirnam जन्माचरास् गुणोदयः धर्मन्यायव्यवस्थायां कारणं बलमेव हि. Somebody read the
In
translation.
Kali Yuga, wealth alone will be considered a sign of a man's good birth, proper behavior and fine qualities, and law and justice will be applied only on the basis of one's power. Srimad Bhagavatam 12:2.
Yeah, so in the 12th canto, this prediction is given. So it has a lot of predictions about Kali Yuga. And as you read that section, you realize how each of it is coming true. This was written 5,000 years back. Right? So as we are seeing, so good qualities don't matter. You'll see there are so many rapists, murderers who are going scot-free. Why? Because they have money and influence.
So was not it true in the other Yuga also?
No. The other yugas, in fact, there's 4 yugas: Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. So Satya Yuga had all the 4 virtues of dharma. Dharma has 4 legs: truthfulness, mercy, cleanliness, and one more, honesty. So the 4 regulative principles that we talk about, each of those is mapped to actually one leg of the dharma. So only in Kali Yuga, some bit of truthfulness is remaining. If you look at other legs of dharma, they have been broken. Mercy, where is mercy? People are eating rampantly non-veg. Where is the mercy? We are killing other living entities. Right? Plants also have life, but they have lower level of consciousness. So we need to eat something to keep ourselves alive, but doesn't mean we should kill animals which have a very high degree of consciousness. So there's no mercy. There's no cleanliness. Like,
माता जी ट्रूथफुलनेस के ऊपर कल का एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ मैं सबको. मैं बड़ी मंदिर के बाहर आप खड़े हो और भागवत गीता आप डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर रहे हो, लोग मंदिर से बाहर निकल के आ रहे हैं, आप उनसे पूछ रहे हो आप भागवत गीता लेना चाहेंगे, आपके घर पे है? हाँ है. आपको समझ में आ रहा है कि वो झूठ बोल रहे हैं, भगवान के यहाँ से निकल के झूठ बोल रहे हैं और भगवान के लिए. और मैं बात उन लोगों की नहीं है, हम भी हो सकते हैं उनकी जगह पे. अगर हम यहाँ पे नहीं होते और हमारा थोड़ा से अच्छे प्रारब्ध नहीं होते तो हम भी वही कर रहे होते. मैं तो वही कितना ही तो पक्का हो रहा था,
टेंडेंसी वही है.
और मैं 5 साल पहले ये करता था.
Actually, Bhagavad
मेरे को
Gita.
लगा भगवान के घर से निकल के भगवान.
Actually, प्रभु जी, ये वाला जो पॉइंट है, दिस इज एक्चुअली ट्रू. बहुत सारे लोग जो बोलते हैं ना कि हमारे पास है, मतलब मे बी देयर आर सम पीपल हु आर लाइंग,
वो दिख जाता है.
but most of the people are actually saying the truth. Because कोई है, एक किसी ने गिफ्ट किया होगा. You know, पहले के ज़माने में when somebody used to pass away, उनके जब रिचुअल्स भी होते थे तो भगवत गीता देते थे as return gifts.
मेरे पास ऐसे ही
है ना?
रखे हुए हैं.
तो वैसे भी रखे हुए. बट when you get into आपके पास कौन सी भगवत गीता, ये है क्या as it is, बोलेंगे नहीं. आपके पास कौन सी है कुछ गीता प्रेस से है या कुछ और, वो बोलेंगे. इनका कहाँ रखी हुई है? वो मेरे होम टाउन में रखी हुई, मेरे गांव में रखी हुई है. सो नोबडी हैज इट हियर. बट
No, it's just a collection.
like,
basically.
हाँ, it's just a collection कहीं से है. But I'm just trying to say that not everybody is lying, but there may be some people. Some could
especially
be,
young
yeah.
age when people,
हाँ.
and there are, you can be honest, say I'm not interested. It's a straight honest answer.
नहीं, उसके बाद आप एक काम और कर सकते हैं. आप उन्हें बोलिए फ्री है, तो इमीडिएटली वो कहेंगे हाँ नहीं है हमारे पास.
क्या बात कर रहे हो? क्या नहीं किया ये?
We'll talk about book
They're
distribution
finding a
also.
burden actually.
Yeah.
They're finding a burden.
So another
ये तो पढ़नी पड़ेगी.
yeah. दाम्पत्येभिरुचिर्हेतुर्
दाम्पत्ये विचिर्हेतुर्
मायैवाव्यावहारिके
मायैकाव्यावहारिके
श्रुत्वे पुंस्ते च श्रुत्वे पुंस्त्वे च हीराते
श्रुत्वे पुंस्त्वे च हीरातेर्
विप्र विप्रत्वे सूत्रमेव हि.
विप्रत्वे सूत्रमेव हि.
Somebody read the translation.
Men and women will live together merely because of superficial attraction, and success in the business will depend on the deceit. Womanliness and manliness will be judged according to one's expertise in sex, and a man will be known as a
Brahmana.
just by the wearing a thread. Srimad Bhagavatam 12.2.3. Is this a Sanskrit, Mother?
Yes. Yes.
Very, very different from the Gita Sanskrit, there's this.
It is Sanskrit. So see how all of this is true, right? Last point, Brahmanas. Who's a Brahmana?
Threads.
Just wearing by birth, by wearing a thread,
By
right? Then
birth,
nobody is a Brahma, Vaishya, Shudra by Kshatriya by birth. It is by our characteristics. But the whole
100% by
Varnashra
birth.
system has gotten degraded. So now just by wearing a 2 rupees thread, people are touting themselves as Brahmanas.
Basically, by birth and Brahman, that's it.
Yeah.
There's no.
So in some ceremonies, like, people look for कि कुछ ब्राह्मण है क्या उनको दान देना है, and then some once this college boy, he was like, yeah, I'm a Brahmana, तो उसने ले लिया. It's like कल तो college party में से drink करके पड़ा हुआ था, आज सुबह जाके ब्राह्मणा का दक्षिणा ले रहा है. He was just born in a Brahmana family, right? So that is the definition. It was given. It was not like this in the olden age.
तो जितने कर्मकांड करते हैं हम ब्राह्मणों के सर्कल वाला, वो सब फ्रॉड, मतलब सब रॉन्ग हो गए, क्योंकि वो ब्राह्मण ही नहीं है तो कर्मकांड फेल हो गए.
अब तो प्रोफेशन हो गया ना उनका ये।
नहीं, असली ब्राह्मण लाओगे तभी तो वो हो गया ना.
असली ब्राह्मण कहाँ मिलेगा?
Yeah. So we were talking of Kalki avatar, right? Shambhala grama mukhyasya brahmanasya mahatmanaha
Brahmanasya Mahatmanaha
bhavane vishnu yashasa
Bhavane Vishnu Yashasaha
kalki pradur bhavishyati.
Kalki Pradur Bhavishyati.
Anybody can read the
Lord
translation.
Kalki will appear in the home of the most eminent Brahmana of Shambhala village, the great soul Vishnuyasa.
Yeah.
Srimad Bhagavatam 12.2.18.
So all the details are given. Even Lord Chaitanya's appearance, his complexion, his associates, what will be his instruments, everything has been predicted. So this is the Kalki avatar prediction. So therefore you'll find a lot of Kalki avatars roaming around. आप पूछ रहे थे ना कब आएंगे, बहुत सारे लोग बोल रहे हैं हम ही हैं वो Kalki.
Sari
अच्छा,
Kalki.
ऐसा है क्या? I'm not gonna wear.
No, anybody can say I'm an avatar of the Lord, but you
हाँ,
can't
वो
be,
तो क्या,
right?
बहुत common है, पर Kalki अवतार.
So, but yeah, he hasn't appeared yet. He will appear towards the end of Kali Yuga. So Kali Yuga is 432,000 years. We are now only 5,000 years into it. So towards the end of it, he will appear, and then after that, there will be Pralaya. Yeah, for like 32,000 years.
अभी तो शुरुआत ही है.
Or already शुरुआत में all the predictions are coming true. So Vedic scriptures require no proof. गुलाब जामुन है इसमें. प्रभु जी ने पीपीटी बनाई थी इसीलिए his favorite sweet. But yeah, description of gulab jamun versus putting in our mouth. So suppose there's a foreigner, उसको हम बोलेंगे कि gulab jamun are like fried balls sweetened in sugar syrup, brown. क्या समझ में आएगा? Versus you put something in your mouth, then you know what a gulab jamun is actually like, right? So this is the manual part of it. We talked about 3 things, right? So this is the manual part of it. That unless we apply, what is the use? When we apply, then we will be able to believe. Yeah. So many people say, I don't believe in what you said. We all believe that we are extra smart, right? We don't need anybody to tell us anything. We think we are more intelligent than the great acharyas like Shankaracharya, Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya. Please read about them when you get the time. Just see how great personalities they were. And they have given us the interpretations and the commentaries on the Vedic scriptures, and they have left scriptures behind. So they are not ordinary human beings, you know. Um, yeah. But that's the sad part is with smartphones, we are thinking we are smart. We are not. We have to learn from the Vedic scriptures, and we have to apply it in our lives to be able to understand.
माता जी ईगो छोड़ना है तो सबसे मुश्किल बात है। तो ईगो तो है कि आई एम स्मार्ट और आई एम इंटेलिजेंट एंड आई नो इट ऑल एंड आई एम मिस्टर गूगल।
That's a journey, Prabhuji.
हाँ वही वही तो जर्नी है ना।
वही journey है. And the journey begins with taking shelter of the scriptures, taking shelter of the Lord. What it also means is following instructions of seniors and gurus. Yeah.
जितना स्वाध्याय होगा उतना ही ईगो
और
कम
गुरु की सेवा वो तो पहले से ही होगी। जैसे आपने अशोक जी बहुत अच्छी बात कही थी माता जी सॉरी आप बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट बात बोली थी जब माता जी ने साल भर के बाद लर्निंग पूछी थी आपने कहा था पहले नॉलेज था भक्ति है। You know that was a very deep interpretation. You know नॉलेज तो आप बहुत सारी चीजों का गूगल से पता कर सकते हैं भक्ति है।
सुपरफ्लुअस रहती है ना।
हाँ।
So on that point,
आपने कहा था
है ना? Yeah, I also remember it was a very nice realization, and Prabhuji has been a practitioner for many years, and he had like even when he came for the first class last year, he had all the knowledge, right? I think the point is that I'm trying to make that there is no point in coming to these lectures and hearing unless you start implementing. लेक्चर में आके सत्संग में आके कोई फायदा नहीं है unless we start
शेयर किया था ना व्हाट्सएप रिमेंबर कि अगर कृष्णा साथ में होते तो मैं ये करता।
मेरे साथ बहुत होता है कि मतलब मैं कुछ भी कर रही हूँ कि अगर भगवान तो मेरे यहाँ बैठे हुए हैं तो मैं कई बार रुक जाती हूँ कि वो गुस्सा करेंगे।
Yeah, that's what that's a very nice parameter. That's a very nice parameter. So we have to mold our lives in a way that we will be pleasing to the Lord. But ये इसके लिए मतलब there is a process which has been given, a bona fide process. What is that process? Chanting. There is nothing as powerful as chanting, which is you are associating with the holy names. Anybody who's sitting here not chanting 4 rounds already?
Not chanting.
Not chanting yet.
Not four.
4 कर दीजिए शुरू 4 पे ही इन्फ्लेक्शन पॉइंट है उसके पहले तो वो कहते हैं ना चाइल्ड्स प्ले जो होता है do 4 rounds that's when you will realize at least 4 rounds at least
माता जी was asking
4 or more
चार तो कम से कम है।
कम से कम 4 round you know
But I think something I experience now with 4 rounds, you were saying, no, your brain is like a cooling organ. So you actually feel your thoughts and everything. You actually feel that.
Aristotle ने लगता है मंत्र मेडिटेशन करने के बाद
एक different you feel आ रही है क्योंकि I mean करने के बाद you just feel so settled.
चार तो बिल्कुल जैसे इन्फ्लेक्शन पॉइंट।
बिल्कुल सही बोला 4 के ऊपर ही है मजा आनंद है।
Actually, the 2 legs of our spiritual journey, which I personally experienced, one is the mantra jap and other is the swadhyaya. The रोज सुबह बैठ के कम से कम आधा घंटा गीता, any good scripture पढ़ लो बस, you're made, your day is made. These 2 things are absolutely not negotiable.
And particularly Gita, because you know we don't have so much time. It's so easy to understand. It is also very short. It has the sar of every scripture. All the Vedic scriptures is given in the Bhagavad Gita. Right? It is for us.
अनीता माता जी हमारे लिए इजी टू रीड भेज देती है।
और क्या चाहिए?
और क्या मतलब रेडीमेड फोन के ऊपर सुबह
मतलब लेक्चर भी देखने की जरूरत नहीं है वो पूरा
कृष्णा की जो बुक है एक चैप्टर में रोज पढ़ता हूँ very juicy you can say.
Yeah, it's very nice. So yes, we have to associate with the scriptures.
I think once you get addicted to it actually.
Yeah, so let's go through this. Bhagavad Gita 9.2. Raj Vidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Uttamam Pratyakshavāgamam Dharmyam Susukham kartum avyayam.
Susukham kartum avyayam.
Somebody read.
This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is the perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. Bhagavad Gita 9.2.
So pratyakshavagamam dharmyam, right? It gives direct perception of the self by realization, right? So please put it in practice. The swadhyaya that we were talking about, it's very, very important. So why should we put our faith in scriptures? Right? Somebody may after all of this also still ask, but ki nahi hai faith kya? Do you agree? Faith is an integral part of our life.
Absolutely.
Does everybody agree?
Yes.
I'll give some examples. All the men. आप बैकग्राउंड चेक करके जाते हैं?
अब तो घर पे ही करते हैं।
इसका मतलब आप में faith नहीं है।
Whenever I see, like I'm passing by and these small barber shops are there, like बिल्कुल neck के पास उनका like this very razor sharp thing is there. मैं यही सोचती हूँ कि mental stability certificate देखा क्या इसका? नहीं ना, but faith है. When we fly, when we're going in a train, when we're going in a bus, do we ever doubt that the driver or the pilot is not going to take us to the destination ever? Never, right? But we don't even know them. We don't know these human beings. Like bus mein to tabhi bhi dikh jata hai. Like in aircraft you can't see who the pilot is. Do we know they are mentally sound? Do we know they are not going through any troubles in life? Do we know they'll not crash the plane? But we don't think about that. We have the faith, right? Operation theater.
Yeah.
What is this? Complete faith, right? आराम से चले जाते हैं हम OT में कि ये मुझे he'll cure me of all my problems. They have all kinds of instruments. They are going to cut you open. But you have complete faith. So we can't live our day-to-day lives in the absence of faith. This we do every day. Eating, or let's say we're going to a restaurant. Do you go and check in the kitchen first? Do we ever get a thought कि किचन में कॉकरोच गिर गया होगा, लिजर्ड छिपकली गिर गई होगी, खाने में उसने ऐसे निकाल के तो नहीं दिया है? कभी सोचा आपने? Actually, that happens also in some kitchens.
Yeah, anything can happen.
I was once seeing a juice maker. He was like, it was very hot, and this person was like, cleaning himself up and all his body parts, the sweat. And then थोड़ी देर बाद उसी से उसने जूसर का भी जार वाइप किया. कोई आगे पूछता है कि भैया एक फ्रेश जूस मिलेगा?
बिल्कुल fresh.
That is the flavor.
But we have faith. We have faith, right? On these small things. So what is preventing us from having faith in our scriptures? It's time to forget that, understand and realize that subtle programming that has happened. This one life that we have. It is God's mercy that all of you are here in this class trying to learn from the Bhagavad Gita. It's the time to intensify your journey. It's the time to intensify your journey. How do we intensify that journey? First thing, chanting. Second thing, we'll come to this later, be scientific part, but chanting, at least minimum 4 rounds. At your level, minimum 4 rounds. Nothing less is acceptable. Reading the Bhagavad Gita every day and hearing. Jasdeep Mataji has started posting very short clips of Prabhupada. These are just 1-minute clips. Shloka a day तो तभी भी 5-10 मिनट का होता है. आपके पास उसको सुनने का टाइम नहीं है. 1 minute. I'm asking for 1 minute of your day, which has 24 into 60 minutes. Out of that, I'm asking for 1 minute. Just hear that. And try to meditate on the point that Prabhupada is saying. He's a pure devotee. Just by hearing his Vani, our consciousness will get purified. So hearing that This is a really big seva she's doing, and you should hear that every day. So our request is be scientific. What is the problem today is that we say we are scientific, but we are actually not, right? We are blind followers. Because if somebody says this is a Bhagavad Gita, try to Prabhuji was talking about his experiences in book distribution. People will say, नहीं नहीं हमें पता है हमें नहीं चाहिए हमें सब पता है या तो बोलेंगे yesterday I was trying to distribute Bhagavad Gita. Somebody said नहीं मुझे नहीं चाहिए क्यों नहीं चाहिए मैंने ये मूवी देखी हुई है मैंने कहा कौन सी मूवी है भगवत गीता पे तो मुझे पता नहीं कौन सी मूवी
टीवी सीरियल
हाँ so that's what somebody told me कि somebody I was zapped so another devotee was saying कि नहीं वो महाभारत की बात कर रहे होंगे कि उन्होंने महाभारत देखा हुआ है ये तो मूवी मैंने देखी हुई है so that is our understanding we are not people don't even want to take the Bhagavad Gita because they say that हमें पता है या तो उन्हें पता है या तो उनको पता है कि दिस डजंट वर्क बिकॉज क्या फ्रेंड्स ने बोला अरे यू आर एजुकेटेड यू आर अ मॉडर्न एजुकेटेड पर्सन
ये बात बोली जो आपने ना धर्म तो गांव वालों का काम है रिलीजन स्टिल एग्जिस्ट इन विलेजेस
या
हम लोग ही हैं मतलब मैं हितेश जैन है जो नालायक है मतलब बाकी तो नहीं नहीं आप गांव में जाइए आपको अभी भी दिखेगा
या
सिंपलिसिटी है
नहीं नहीं मंदिर के आसपास ही वो पिंडदान करते
हाँ,
हैं
वही मैं
मेन
कह
के
रहा
ना
हूँ।
रिचुअल या
They don't-
वो किसी भी कारण से भगवान के पास पहुंच जाते हैं
they don't intellectualize it
Yeah.
just एक श्रद्धा है
so very stupid atheistic people will say that it doesn't work but then we should say are you scientific then what does a science experiment mean there is an aim there's an apparatus there's a procedure observation and then conclusion whenever somebody says he's a bogus say this doesn't work you should say if you're a modern person you're a scientific person tell me the experimentation that you've done so what is the experimentation first the aim is to understand whether the Bhagavad Gita works or not what is the apparatus Bhagavad Gita itself what is the procedure you read it first and then you implement it वो एक्सपेरिमेंट करने के लिए इम्प्लीमेंट करना भी जरूरी है then you observe the transformation and then you conclude whether it really works or not somebody would just say I know अरे ये सब तो नहीं काम करता है but have you tried putting it in practice I don't know of a single person who has given a sincere effort in understanding Bhagavad Gita implementing it in their lives and then said that this doesn't work I have not come across any such person.
But in your view, between reading and listening, which is more powerful?
So each of us have a different inclination. So in the starting stages, you should go with the inclination. Like some people are avid readers. They should take to reading for sure. Some people enjoy hearing. So whatever is our previous inclination, we should go with that. But on an absolute level, hearing has the added advantage that hearing somebody is reading from the scriptures but if you're hearing from a pure devotee just their vani and their consciousness also gets transferred to us so that has the added advantage so therefore shravanam provided not ye 7 din wala part Prabhuji this Bhagavad part which is 7 din wala na Prabhupada is so against it because if when you were joining the reading sessions right we would chant the prayers what does it say nityam bhagavata sevaya nityam means like non-stop every day so there is nothing which is bona fide which can be a Bhagavad Saptah Bhagavad Saptah is not bona fide
नहीं बिल्कुल एग्री करता हूं
There
कि
is
एक
nothing-
हफ्ते में भागवतम का मतलब पॉसिबल ही नहीं
वो परीक्षित महाराज कर सकते थे लेकिन हम नहीं कर सकते
हम नहीं
हैं
कर सकते
so that Bhagavatam can't be understood in 7 days
नहीं, you need more.
right so you have to devote every day of your life to hearing and reading so therefore we should hear from people who are bona fide
That is more important.
yeah so therefore also associating with Vani when we're hearing kirtan if you hear kirtan of Prabhupada or one of his disciples that will have a much more effect on your consciousness than any other person who is just singing for money they may be singing
प्रभुपाद जी की ओरिजिनल वॉइस है
yeah So it is very potent. So the consciousness is very important, because there's a consciousness which gets transferred. We've
वो जो
talked about it.
vibrations है ना, those vibrations.
वही ना, हमें समझ में नहीं आता तो हम बोलते हैं मतलब नहीं है। अरे बहुत सारी चीजें हमारे समझ के ऊपर है, उन पे बिलीव करना पड़ेगा।
Yeah. So I have done this experimentation, and that is why I'm sitting here with confidence in saying that this works after years of experimentation. And I'm sure, like all of you, are coming for 2 months, for some of you for more than a year to these sessions. Why? Why? You're seeing some change.
Yeah.
कुछ तो आपको benefit मिल रहा होगा, right? That is why you are here. So now is the time to intensify it and implement it even more. Right? Yeah. Okay. So 3 practices for quick spiritual advancement. We've talked about it. Everyday mantra meditation. Please commit to 4 rounds at least. Regular study of the Bhagavad Gita. There's Shloka Day app. Download it if you have to. Shloka is being posted every day as well. And please don't miss the Sunday satsang. Association is also very, very important in this path, in this journey.
Your group understanding है ना, that is always.
It's very
It
powerful.
has a very profound effect. Actually.
Yeah. Any questions?
दोनों के पास नए नए बैग हैं? नहीं, एकदम साफ सुथरा।
Okay. Yeah, you can ask Rishabh.
You are Shankari?
No, I'm Anupama. I'm waiting some Disha.